Welcome in my e-lecture. Today we would discuss another level of language. As in previous lecture we talked about one of the level of language, that was syntax, and under syntax we talked about different phrases structures. Today we'll talk about another level, and that is semantics. If we generally talk about language is divided into three parts. The first one, language consists of sounds, then form and meaning. Under sounds we have phonetics and phonology. In phonetics we discussed that how different sounds are produced, and then these sounds are transmitted from one person to another person. That is the subject of acoustic phonetics. And then we talked about how these sounds are perceived, auditory phonetics. In phonology we talked about how different sounds are organized into meaningful patterns and in particular language. When we talk about form, over here is how different words are formed. Word formation is discussed under form of the language, and syntax, that's the science of sentence formation. Semantics and pragmatics, these two levels deal with meanings. Today we'll discuss only this one, semantics. Now the question arises, what is semantics? As I told you, semantics and pragmatics, both these two levels discuss meanings. Next question is, what kind of meanings are discussed in semantics? As we have number of types of meanings, there are reflexive meaning, associative meaning, social meaning. There are a number of types of meanings, but today in this lecture I'll focus only on two types of meaning. So first let me define what is semantics. Yes, I have written the definition over here. You can see semantics, this is the study of meaning of language. Of course, meanings are not disconnected from the language except phonetics. At every level, in phonology we also talk about the meaning, in morphology we also talk about the meaning, syntax is also concerned with meaning, semantics is also about meanings. So at every level, excluding phonetics, in phonetics we are not concerned with meaning. So in language, how meanings are constructed at word level, phrase level, at sentence level, this is the subject of semantics, the study of meaning. Now, as I have already mentioned, there are a number of types of meaning, but today I'll discuss only two types of meaning, and those are conceptual meaning and associative meaning. Conceptual meaning, the very first concept which comes in our mind after hearing or after listening any word. For example, if I say marker, the very first idea which comes in our mind, that is something which is used for writing. So other than the first idea, there are a number of other associations. It may be the symbol of power, right? It may be the symbol of literacy. It may be the symbol of knowledge. So there are certain other associations which are associated with the basic concept of the word. Those associations are on our personal experiences. Look here, conceptual meaning as the very first idea, the very first concept, the basic essential component of meaning. Look here, conceptual meaning are those meaning which are basic essential component of meaning conveyed by the literal use. literal use of word. Literal use mean the meaning which tells us or which we get from the dictionary without any further association, without any addition on the basis of our personal experiences, on the basis of our personal liking or disliking, on the basis of our personal associations. Personal associations are not involved in conceptual meaning. Conceptual meaning, basic essential component of meaning conveyed by the literal use, not contextual use. Context is somewhat different. Context is not involved in the meaning of conceptual meaning. So these are those meanings which are found, which can be found from dictionary. Dictionary tells us about conceptual meaning, and that is why these are objective meaning. Objective means personal liking or disliking are not involved, and these are general meaning. For example, if you look the meaning of marker, if you look the meaning of, for example, fan, so you would have same meaning in different dictionaries. So these are general meanings. Another type, this is associative. As I told you, on the basis of our personal experiences, we attach different meanings, and these meanings vary from society to society, from culture to culture, even sometimes from person to person, because everybody has got different sort of experiences. So on the basis of those experiences, people add different meanings to the original word. So association means concepts that we add to the original word. Associations are made by us, by the people, depending upon their personal experiences. So these are personal associations, these are local meanings, and these are always changing. Yes, changing depending upon the type of society, type of culture. Let me make it more clear by giving you an example. Yes. Let me take a word that is needle. Needle. What's the very first idea, first concept which comes in our mind at the very moment when we listen this word needle? If you search, if you look this word from the dictionary, you would find there would be definition, and that definition is same in all the dictionaries. The basic concept, the essential component, which is conveyed by the literal use, that is, it is thin, sharp, steel, metal. Let me write. Thin, sharp, steel, metal instrument. Steel, metal, this is the conceptual meaning of the word needle. Thin, sharp, steel, metal, instrument. Now, different people have different experiences, different association with needle. For example, if somebody has experienced that he has watched the scene that doctor is injecting the needle and the patient is crying with the pain. So he might attach the concept of pain. Yes. Concept of pain with needle. So this original concept is needle, steel, metal, and again pain, this is the concept which is added by the person on the basis of his personal experiences to original concept. Original concept is thin, sharp, steel, metal instrument. This is the original concept. So what is added? This is on the basis of personal experience. Might be somebody takes or adds the concept of illness. For example, somebody is ill, at that time needle is injected. So at the very moment when the person hears the word needle, illness comes in his mind. Maybe if he has observed bleeding somewhere due to the injection of needle, and he has observed blood, so he would associate, he would add this concept with the original concept, blood. Maybe some person has observed that different people who are addicts of different drugs, they also use different needles to inject drugs. In local language, we also call those people, it's just for the sake of fun, we call those as aeroplanes, jahaz, right? And they fly on the wings of imagination with full intoxication, and that's the escapism from these bitter realities of life. That's their own way, their own logic that they use. So might be the people who observed their process of injecting drugs and their intoxication and the way they fly on the wings of imagination, those people may think, they may add the concept of drugs with needle. The basic thing is needle. All these are associations. There may be many more. There may be thread. Those people who work at knitting, they have skill of knitting. At the very moment when they would hear this word needle, they would say the concept which would come in their mind, that would be thread. Or there may be another concept, hard to find, right? If somebody has tried to find out the needle, but he experienced much difficulty while finding the needle, so he would associate this sort of meaning with the original concepts. So these are pain, illness, blood, drugs, thread, hard to find. These are different associations made by different people depending upon their own personal experiences. Now, of course, these personal experiences vary from person to person, and these also vary from society to society, from culture to culture. That is why we say that associative meanings are subjective. Personal liking or disliking are involved in the associative meanings, and in conceptual meaning, personal liking and disliking are not involved. These are general meaning and these are local meanings. So now the question remains unsolved, as we have defined that semantics studies meaning. What kind of meaning? We have two types of meaning. One is conceptual associative meaning. So semantic deals with, keep in mind, conceptual meaning. These are also called as denotative meanings. Semantics deals with denotation of the word, denotation of language, and associative meanings are also known as connotation. This is denotation, denotative meaning, and connotative meanings. So denotative meanings, denotation is discussed in semantics, and these are context-bound meaning. Context-bound meaning are associative meanings. These are discussed in pragmatics, that we'll discuss in later classes. This is all about semantics. Let me recap the concept of semantics. This is study of meaning of words, phrases, sentences, and what kind of meanings are discussed in semantics: conceptual meaning, denotative meaning, basic meaning, essential component part of the word. These meanings are discussed in semantics. So thank you so much. This is all about for today's lecture.